Just a Thought, a show that starts with a simple premise and explores how different people view different subjects. The greatest philosophies, the most revolutionary changes, and the greatest inventions. And all of them started with just a thought.
What it do, good people from the 202 to the 810 family. Happy Sunday. Some would say happy Sunday fun day. But during these times of the great apocalypse, in my opinion, uh, ain't too much fun happening out here on this Sunday. Other than community things, I ain't gonna be totally morbid, but happy to be seen and not viewed. And I don't know where my co-host is, but I would love for her to come in and welcome the people as well. Anna, you there? You on mute, Anna.
Go ahead, start your thing of why we started this show. Usually, you give me about a good 5 minutes. You got this. People
All
come.
right. What's happening, good people? Good people. All right, let me make sure I'm in this comment section so I can see who up here. Wanda Smith, thank you for joining us. Eddie Gray, thank you for from the 704 Charlotte bound. The lovely Sherry Allen, thank you for joining us. And the new VIP room, Flint Caskets. Thank you for joining us. We do have some house rules as you join us on Just a Thought. Please make sure that you hit the like button to show that you're present and attended for, because it helps if we make it into your algorithm so that more people can join the great 810 News Media Group family. We also like to make it known for those who are just joining us on Just a Thought. Ask yourself why is 202 on 810, because Nikki and Trevor would say they're going nationwide, and we do hope that we take this 810 band of misfits or old temptations, as Mickey, aka Otis, would say, who's supporting us in the background today, on the road, just so we can make sure we spread the good gospel of fuck around and find out from 810 all over the land. What's up, Omar Thorpe? Thank you for joining us. Ace Spag, thank you for joining us. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. And if the Lord should move your heart on this good Sunday, we want to make sure we pay the producer for all the hard work that he's doing today. He's bringing you 3 shows today. He started with Black Watch with Brother Elliot, who reminded us that while you're getting your mind right, you got to make sure you bring your body into it as well. And then you got us here for about an hour or so. And then you'll follow it up with the nightly nip on the Sunday edition. Um, this winter's got something big for y'all. Brian say, what's up, H-Stag? Good evening. And Omar Thorpe, y'all see what he said. We see what they said. Hulk smash that like button. Don't be stingy. We like love too. All right, Anna, I gave you enough time. What's up?
Nothing's up. What's up? Nothing is up. There is nothing up. It's stuff coming down. That's what's happening. Some bullshit coming down. That's what the hell's going on. Um, I'm over here looking at my stats, and I know we don't really talk about sports, but I gotta give it to the Commanders today. We officially won today, Yogi. I know you don't watch football, but I do. And so the Commanders beat the Raiders. So the West Coast, what is that? Las Vegas. I'm sorry, Raiders. We beat you by 41-24. Let's see if that keeps going. And of course, my beautiful team, LA Rams, won today. They beat the ugly Eagles. I might get beat up because I'm from New Jersey, and most people from Jersey Eagles fans, because as y'all know in sports, New Jersey does not have a football team. And of course, the lovely Steelers has won today. And so our next lineup of games later on, actually it's on right now. You got the Broncos, the Chargers playing, Saints and Seahawks, Cowboys and Bears, and the Cardinals and 49ers. So I know football season is in, and I'm happy some of the men are on here, but I do know that the Sunday NFL, most men do not get on these calls because they are watching football. So I love to go to the bar, go sit there and watch my team. So shout out that my team played today and we won. So that's a good thing. But Yogi G, how was your week?
Yeah, Omar, you see my face. Like me and football, it's not because I don't love it. I like to talk shit like the next person. So football is my jam for that. But given the nature of what just happened here in DC and the Commanders taking over half of our property and putting half of us in the homelessness, I'd give it 13 thumbs down. My weekend was pretty busy. I'm all about trying to strengthen my community outside of this box of internet and tap into those who can pour into me and help me get a little more stable during this apocalyptic time. So I spent my weekend up at Sankofa, which if you haven't been to DC, it's a African centered bookstore that has a lot of great reads and community. And I work with this organization called Rising Organizers that educates a lot of people who want to learn how to organize while they're here in DC and keep it going wherever they may go to learn the principles of organizing. So I did that, and then it was HU versus HU. Hampton versus Howard University was today. I did not attend, but I saw all the boots hitting the ground and the young people out with their families. So that was a great vibe to see. We had our H3 festival. That's always a big deal in DC. So while we are going through some of this traumatic things, and y'all keep hearing about Donald Trumpy Rumsey, we are still finding space for joy and to still continue to build community. So hope the ladies had if they saw the Senate meeting with the mayor of
Yes.
DC.
Yeah.
All right, so Omar, since you jumping off our conversation, let's get into it. Anna keep trying to throw it on me, but she the mastermind
No,
for
I'm
today.
not. I'm trying to read everyone. Beverly Biggs is in the comments. She said, "Good evening, everyone. My husband says the Raiders lost. Yes, the Raiders have lost. I'm not against the Raiders, but of course, I am happy that my team, the Commanders, and of course, the Steelers have won. Those are my three top teams. I guess Detroit. What is it? Go Blue. Y'all go in tomorrow, Monday night. But most men are watching football right now, so that's about right. You got Deborah Luna came in. Good evening. Oh, so Omar saying, hope the ladies have time to address what they saw. Yes, that he already brought it up. There you go. So if you want Yogi G, we can pull the video up just to give one little snippet of it.
I am your co-captain for today. Let's
No,
get
you
to
was
it.
the captain because I'm running on. I'm not running on coffee. I am tired. I had one of those week, man. To tell you the truth, even before we get into that, I lost a real good friend. And so I'm not myself right now. I literally one of my closest girlfriends passed away on the 17th. And yesterday was her birthday. And actually Yogi G's son's birthday was yesterday. So we got some good celebrations. And then I have a sad celebration. But my girlfriend, we went everywhere, but she celebrated football right along with her husband. So today I would have been texting her, talking crap about, sports and stuff. So we got to keep ourselves with love, and we got to keep ourselves with calling each other and seeing how each other's doing. Because even though we do this show and we talk about all the crazy things that are going on, people are leaving. And I don't know if it's because it's my age. The older you get, eventually we'll talk about generations, but I do know, like, when you get closer to this age, your parents do leave. Your grandparents leave. So it's a lot of things going on. Thank you, Omar. So let's get into it. All right, Mickey.
Just for taking the time to be here today. I know y'all are busy, so really appreciate it. Mayor Bowser, thank you to you especially for coming here. You've been mayor for about 10 years, right?
Yes.
Okay. And during that time, would you describe DC as a safe city?
Yes.
You would?
Listen, Mr. Gill, and it was brought up earlier by the Congresswoman from
The murder
Detroit.
rate in Washington, D.C. is the fourth highest of any city in the
I
country. Would you describe that as a safe city?
I have heard every statistic and factoid, and they're all different about where
Are you
our city.
disputing
No,
that Washington D.C. is the fourth highest murder rate in the country?
I'm not familiar with that
You're
statistic.
not familiar with that
What I know,
statistic. This
Mr.
is your
Gill,
city.
Mr. Gill,
Respectfully,
excuse
this
me.
is your city.
I know that we have driven our murder rate down.
What was the
over-
homicide rate in 2014 before you were elected?
I don't know.
Do you know how much the homicide rate has changed during your 10 years as mayor?
I do.
How much?
It has gone up.
It's gone up
And
by
it is
about
going
70%.
down.
It's gone up by about 70% from
I don't think that's
2014 to
correct. I don't think that's
2024. Those are
correct.
from the Metropolitan Police Department.
I
That
don't
is
think
correct.
that number is
You
correct.
should know the crime
Yeah, and
statistics for your own city,
I do know
especially
my
whenever
crime
it's this
statistics.
dangerous. Do you know how carjackings have trended during your time in office?
I know that they have gone down.
They're up over 500% since
Mm-hmm.
from 2014 to 2024. That's not a safe city. I don't think any person would call that a safe city. Well, move on. Do you agree that defunding the police makes our communities less safe, don't you?
This is what I want to say.
It's a straightforward question.
yeah.
You're not
Well,
going to
this is
filibuster.
my-
Do you
this is my
think that
answer.
defunding the police
This is
makes our
my
communities
answer.
less safe?
What I know is that people have moved here. People have sent their kids here. People have started businesses here. We have record.
Does
We have
defunding the
record
police make our
visitation,
communities
and
more
so
or less
those
safe?
are the
Does
indications
defunding the police
of
make
a
our
city
communities
where
more
people
or
want
less
to
safe?
live, work, and
You
visit.
won't even back your own police department
You-
right now.
you-
I'm asking you, does defunding the police make our communities more or less safe? And you won't give me a straight answer.
I've already answered that today.
And why don't you tell me again, do you think that defunding the police makes our communities more or less safe?
I've never defunded the police, nor would
Mickey,
You
we
don't
gonna
think
stop
it
it
makes
right
our
here.
communities less safe. Is that correct?
I just told you, I've never defunded the police.
I
and I never.
understand.
So what I'm thinking, Yogi, there's several parts to this. It's a lot in here. So we can touch on this part and then start playing it again. So what did you get from what you just heard?
For me, it was the level of disrespect. Now, y'all know, if y'all been watching that since we started here on 810, I am not a fan of King Bow Bow. But I also am not a fan of being openly disrespected and not given the respect of being the leader of a city that you're trying to put on trial and snatch rights away from. The limited rights we already have, you're trying to snatch away from. So that is the only thing right now that's sticking with me, is the anger that's bubbling up in my Black spirit at the way that they were talking about our city, and also talking to your mayor, not mine. Go ahead.
Well, at this point, I'm going to say she's my mayor because she's protecting our city. And right now we're being attacked. And so we have to go behind her when it comes to stuff like this, because the Congress is screwing us over, Yogi. Literally. I mean, when you hear the word defund police, if you look at the big beautiful bill, let's talk about it. The big beautiful bill actually defunds the police. So for him to say that, it's just crazy. But the second part is, when you hear what she says, there was no reason for them to even be here. We didn't need them to come to our city. And so when you hear this guy lying and saying that we are, what do you say, fifth? We're not fifth. We're not even on the top 10 of a dangerous city. Now, I don't know about you. When I first came here in the 90s in DC, I don't know what year you was born, Yogi G, but I do know when I came, I was 18 years old when I moved to DC.
I'll help you. I was born in 82. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, when did you start noticing the difference of what is that? In the 80s, late 80s, or the early 90s when you started to see your city? Like middle school, elementary?
Neither. It wasn't until I became a parent that I started to see my city. I was in survival mode. Every day was trapping and surviving.
So here I came as a teenager, going to school, and I got married real young. And I learned DC real quick because I came as an adult. And we're being challenged because of that. Right now with something that happened years ago. It just irritates me when people lie about the city being dangerous. I don't know about you. I've been to other cities, and still to this day, when I go to visit, if I go to New York and I go visit my cousins, and I have cousins that live in South Bronx, till this day, I get myself dressed a certain way, and I watch how I walk. I watch who I talk to. I watch who I look straight in the eye, and I mind my damn business. And I still do that to this day, but I do a little bit more when I go back. And when I go into certain buildings, you just know it's the same in a lot of areas. And why is that? I can't answer for everyone, but the reality is we don't need this president doing this shit to us right now. So this Congress meeting that you're watching right here with the way the mayor's answering, they're bringing out false numbers. Mickey, can you pull up that chart exactly where DC is? Which we're not on there, but I'm going to show you this chart. And right here is the top 10 U.S. cities with the highest crime rates. Do you see DC on here? I want to let it up for a minute. Can you go over to, can you show me where you see DC? Because I don't see DC. But I do see Memphis. That's a red state. Detroit, Michigan's a red state. They voted for Trump. St. Louis, Missouri. I don't know. Is it Missouri a blue state? Can't remember. I know Baltimore is a blue state. Ohio's a red state. Alabama's a red state. I don't know. Is New Orleans purple? Can't remember. I know Arkansas is a red state. Kansas City, Missouri, I don't know if it's a red state. And then Milwaukee, that is a red state. So it's probably one blue and one purple. Explain this to me. You don't see us any on there. And if you listen to what that guy said, he said we're number 5. Do you see who number 5 is? Cleveland, Ohio. But what they're not talking about is that they're always saying that it's predominantly the black cities. You don't even see Chicago on here. Now, Memphis, Tennessee, that's the rent state. You got poverty going on. You ain't giving these people resources, they cutting up. Go ahead, Yogi G.
No, I was just looking at some of the comments in the chat. Mark Hutchinson said, well, Omar said, sad part is this is only a little bit of the questioning she had to deal with. Facts. Man, they were totally disrespectful across the board. I mean, I remember there was one, not to get off of this topic, but just to go to Omar's point. At one point, the conversation had came up with I think it was the representative for Wisconsin, and he was asking about how do they keep, what is the District of Columbia doing to keep men in the home? And so each one of our representatives was just like, okay, these are the programs that we're doing to support strong families. And he just was like, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. And I was confused about, like, if you don't want to hear about the investments that we have in programming to help encourage fathers to be a part of the household, even when they're not directly in the household, then to me, it's coming off as if you just want us to like sign off on shotgun weddings. Is that what you were looking for? Like, we're going to give you jail time if you're not in the house. And even our chairman of the council, who is a white man, Phil Mickelson, was like, I don't even know any part of governance that can help keep families together or make families stay together. So like the whole process itself was just crazy. What I wanted to add to this conversation was the rebuttal that came from a gentleman whose name Greg Jackson. He's a DC resident and the former deputy director of the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention. So I forgot I had this on it, so I would have sent it to you earlier. But Mickey, I sent it to you.
Talking about the guy Jackson on the video?
Yeah,
he's on this video.
Okay, so you want to go into that? Or you want to finish your thought on this?
No, go ahead. I'm gonna turn my camera off because I'm gonna fast forward it and send it to him so he don't have to keep scrolling real quick. So
Mickey,
keep going.
What's up, Felicia Martinez? Thank you for jumping in. You are not late. You are always on time. What's the topic for tonight? We're just talking about the recent questioning that was happening at the Capitol. We had some legislation that came up in the Thunderdome, aka the Capitol, where they have passed some new laws, or in Congress, they still have to go to the Senate, to my understanding, where they're lowering the age of what's considered to be a legal adult to 14. And there was some other laws that they were looking to pass to strip us further of restricted rights that we have here in the District of Columbia. Otis, you hear me back there?
You said
I was asking if you could cue up the video that I sent you.
I'm finna do it now.
I appreciate you, sir. What's up, me Freeze Barbecue? Thank you for joining us. Y'all make sure y'all smash that like button. And if you haven't heard the good word, we looking to pay our producer. So whatever you like, it whether through his Cash App or through Super Sticker, we would like to show our producer some love for working so hard this Sunday. Giving you on A10 Family 3 shows on a Sunday, man. That's a hard working man out here. Y'all need to make sure he get paid. Um, yeah. So ain't nobody come to see Otis. Sorry, Mickey, I couldn't say. You know what? I ain't said. She said it, Mick. Alicia said, ain't nobody come to see Otis. But I'm always here to see Otis because Otis giving us the chance to tell you about the decimation that's happening here in the District of Columbia. All right, here we go. Go ahead, you can play it, Mickey. Like I said, this is Greg Jackson, who's the former deputy director of Office of Gun Violence Prevention, that is speaking on behalf of the things that are happening in the District of Columbia. So this was his rebuttal to the questioning that was happening. Thanks, New One, for the five.
For our schools, despite this crisis we face, the last few years have shown us that we do have solutions that work. In the previous 2 years, DC and cities across the country have seen historic reductions in gun violence without the deployment of masked agents or the military. We did this by investing in prevention and intervention efforts to communities at risk and strategically investing in law enforcement to keep illegal guns off of our streets and to close homicides. As our communities have been fighting our way out of this crisis, we find ourselves at a dangerous crossroad. Instead of adding more federal resources to solutions that work, the Trump administration has dismantled and defunded bipartisan strategies passed into law to reduce violence. They shut down the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention. They defunded law enforcement, including the ATF. They cut over $1 billion in mental health resources for our schools, terminated $812 million in funding for community violence intervention programs, defunded gun violence research, shut down the CDC Firearm Injury Center, dismantled important regulations like the zero tolerance policy for gun dealers, and now plans to further defund critical resources to address the root causes of violence. Despite this crisis, we found resources for our schools.
Nikki said that's enough. Nah, but yeah. So if you listen to what former director Greg Jackson said, to Honest Point, they cut a lot of our supports to help the continuance of our numbers going down towards crime intervention. And so, how can you say that we're not being adamant about securing safety in our communities when we're a federally run city that is heavily dependent, per your own laws, on the outcomes of us being able to maintain our own budget and make the investments when it's our own Congress that are telling us that they know what's best for our city without even stepping foot into any of the areas that they're sitting here judging. Um, so I want to answer Sherry Allen's question. She says, Anna and Yogi, do y'all see the National Guard when y'all go out in the city? How does it make y'all feel? Sherry Allen, thank you for asking. So, yes, we do see the National Guard out in our city. And one thing that they're not showing is how our community members are working alongside with the National Guard. Right now, the National Guard is not our biggest worry. It is all for political theater, in my opinion. They're here for show of force that Donald Trump wants to show that he can just do what he wants to do with our military. What has been happening is that our National Guards have been used as cleanup service, lawn care workers, and so now they're on detail in Southeast DC, Southside. And our community members are coming out and helping them to collect the trash, to scrub the walls, and just, build a better relationship with people that, excuse me, in my opinion, in the blink of the eye, can just turn around and be on something different depending on their temperament. What I hate about probably what you guys are saying on a national lens, is that most of the conversation that's being had is surrounded predominantly around the presence of the National Guard here in the District of Columbia. And that's not what's troubling us in these streets. We're being overrun and aggressively policed by our own police force. That's number one. We have ISIS running rampant. I think I've said this time and time again. We have ISIS running rampant in our communities, tagging and bagging people. And we have the FBI, ATF, and every other acronym that is known to man here in the District of Columbia that's joining in on the fight. And while people keep asking us, this is not for Sherry Island because we love it here. People keep asking people from DC or keep talking about National Guard, National Guard, National Guard. The National Guard are not the ones walking around with the cuffs, the badge, and the bodies. I see Anna back here on the screen, so go ahead, Anna.
Hey, Mickey, did you get the video? Mickey, you there? Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, thank you. All right. So before this starts, this is because of all the decisions that are going on, and what we were just talking about. And I know Yogi went to Jackson's conversation, but Jackson's conversation actually brings up exactly what this part is. The effects of what's going on in our city, but who they're targeting. And yes, Sherry Allen, he said he was on revenge and he will come after every blue city. And DC is a blue city. So, Mickey, you can start it.
An article from ABC News that said prosecutors already have dropped nearly a dozen cases from Trump's DC crime surge. And I want to just explain briefly, this is because
without objection to order,
Janine Pirro is trying
Chair
to prosecute
recognizes
cases
Ms.
that a
Presley.
grand
You're
jury
taking Ms.
will not
Presley's
even
time.
indict in because
You're taking Ms.
she
Presley's
is
time. Ms.
not
Presley,
actually
start the
indicting
clock.
crimes.
Ms. Presley.
Thank you to our witnesses for being here today. What we are seeing in this moment is chilling. The current occupant of the White House is sending federal troops into this beautiful majority Black city. And let's be plain about who is being targeted. In this year alone, more than 93% of youth arrests in DC were of Black youth. More than 40% of the arrests tied to this federal surge have been immigrants. This is not about safety. This is about suppressing Black leadership, stopping Black progress, and criminalizing Black and brown youth. Mr. Jackson, you have an expertise in reducing crime, specifically gun violence, and you have researched what works and actually keeps people safe. We've heard a lot of rhetoric today, loud, inflammatory, dangerous, misleading at best. So let's separate fact from fiction. I'll make a statement and you'll answer with fact or fiction. Let's start. A 14-year-old has a fully developed brain.
Fiction.
Yes, that's fiction. Easy. Middle schoolers are still learning and growing. Science tells us the brain isn't fully developed until our mid to late 20s, which means children do not have the same judgment, impulse control, or decision-making capacity as adults. Yet just this week, Republicans passed legislation that would prosecute children as adults and send them to adult prisons. Children in adult prisons. Next question, Mr. Jackson, fact or fiction? The criminal legal system incarcerates Black youth at disproportionately higher rates than white youth.
Fact.
Correct. That's fact. Nationally, Black kids are 6 times as likely as white kids to be incarcerated. In DC, the focus of today's hearing, the disparities are even more stark. Despite making up only 51% of the youth population, Black children in DC are 98% of youth confinement. For too long, Black youth have been disproportionately criminalized, policed, and locked up for normal adolescent behavior rather than receiving the resources and support that are proven to help them grow and reach their full potential. Last one, Mr. Jackson, fact or fiction? Trauma-informed strategies like community violence intervention help to disrupt cycles of violence.
Fact.
Correct. That's a fact. Investing in prevention, mental health, and community-based support keeps people safe. These are real, sustainable solutions. In the Massachusetts 7th, which I represent, cities like Boston, which Trump has threatened to attack next, are partnering with organizations like the Louis G. Brown Peace Institute to make these investments and are seeing historic lows in crime as a result. If Republicans were actually serious about reducing crime, they would follow that example, but they are so unserious. Instead of going after predators and pedophiles like Jeffrey Epstein, they are going after children, passing policies to ship middle schoolers to adult prisons. That is child abuse. And it is consistent with their pattern of abuse and neglect when it comes to all our children. They let children go hungry by cutting SNAP. They make children sicker by cutting Medicaid and taking away vaccines. They strip environmental protections, leaving more kids gasping for air during asthma attacks. They rip families apart with cruel immigration policies as children watch their parents taken away from classroom windows, and they ignore the strange fruit of young Black men like Trey Reed hanging from the trees of Mississippi. Time and again, Republicans prove they are unserious about the care, the health, and the future of all our children. They are invested only in fear and control, and that's what they're doing here today. Republicans are certainly not keeping us safe. Free DC.
You can stop it, Mickey.
Chair recognizes Mr. Fallon from Texas.
You can go ahead, Yolanda, and then I'll say what I need to say.
Say what you need to say. I'm still processing.
So I showed you this part because, when people ask, how do you feel when you see the guards out here? Truth is, the guards can't even do anything because they're not even trained on how to deal with the public, because they're not supposed to be on the grounds on U.S. soil. They should be training in case we go to war, which I don't know if y'all saw. Not to change the subject and bring it right back, they just bombed the Venezuelan ship, so let's bring it back. That's what they should be focusing on, because America's probably going to put us back on war again, the way this is going, because some of us want civil war, and the people that want civil war are mediocre white people. I'm sorry, I said what I said. But going to what she's talking about, this is a war on our youth to make sure that the generations, just like today I went to Pros in Politics, it's a bookstore, and the whole narrative is ban the books, ban the history, stop us from reading, stop us from going forward. But now the attack is on our youth, because if you get a hold of our youth and you lock our youth, you can lock and load for these people who are not going to be here. Because I don't know if you know that half these people that are in position in Congress and Senate, they're not going to be here in the next 30 years to 50 years on the decisions they're making today. So if we could just stop getting caught up, and this is just a thought on I'm true to being a Republican or I'm true to being a Democrat, start looking at the laws that they're pushing that can affect us for 50 years. And right now, I don't know about you, but I have a 15-year-old, and I know Yogi G has youth herself, and this is detrimental to turn around. I don't know about you. Go ahead, Yogi G.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I every day that I wake up here in these DC streets is just something that just gives me anxiety. Like, as Omar said, man, that is scary. I have asthma and had attacks in school when I was young. To think these kids aren't getting that care frightens me. There's so many things that have our mind, or have my mind in a tailspin. I can't even keep up, right? Like, what I feel like is that now we have to one band, one sound, because our democracy is literally, or our democratic rights are being challenged and snatched away because we are the nation's capital, and they don't see us as being valuable, as being considered a independent city that wants to be a state. And so we have to come together and say that we deserve to have that right, while also finding space to name that it was our own council, at best, when they did have control over the budget as much as they could, that didn't use this time to put investments into spaces that would not be now referred to as slums, ghettos, or school to prison factories. So it's a twofold here. For me, and I'm just like, as somebody who's in the organizer space that's working to have unified conversation with all representation of DC residents. That is where we're often having to start from. It's not like, okay, this is how we show up truly as DC and let's go show Congress that. No, we got to have collective conversation amongst each other to talk about the reality of what the experiences have been on from the richer part of DC to the lower end of part of DC. Because the last thing we want is that we regain power and still have to deal with the same BS. Um, yeah, that's just some of the thoughts that come to my mind right now on that. I will say that it also is just kind of like it behooves me, right? I learned that word when I was young and it stuck with me. That we are surprised by any of the things that are coming down the pipeline. I also hear people being like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it." Why can't you? Why can't you believe that this is where America has landed? Because it's been there before and not that long ago. There are people that you can see now. I think I queued up something for Mickey that I discovered today. As I mentioned before here, I'm a journalism and media strategy student. And so I'm doing currently a report on the effects of media during huge social movements, social justice movements. And so I came across this CBS piece from the 1960s. And it talks about, it's called The Harvest of Shame. And it talks about how America went through a job industry crisis and families were moved into labor camps so that it could meet the need of families being able to take care of themselves. And this affected poor blacks just as well as it affected poor whites. The only difference was that the poor blacks didn't really have autonomy on being able to sustain themselves in between of traveling from place to place to sometimes just make $1. So I don't know if this is a good time to kind of harbor that. I just wanted to play it for you guys as a space of remembrance that just 65 years ago, which is not that long ago, this is with the nature of where we were as a country. So I don't know how this is going to play out. I'll probably do some weird recording, but Mickey, if you want to kind of just play it a little bit.
Whatever little they are. At the Okeechobee labor camp, while families were preparing to move north, there was still some work in the bean fields. Children, as usual, were left to fend for themselves.
Jerome, how old are you?
9.
9. Do you go to school?
Yes.
Where do you go to school, Jerome?
At the Okeechobee Elementary School.
I see. What is your sister's name?
Lois.
That's Lois. And what are your other sisters' names?
Catherine. And Beulah.
Catherine and Beulah. What happened to your foot, Jerome?
Dig a nail in out there by the wash house.
So you drove a nail in out by the wash house. What did your mother do for that?
She put some alcohol on it.
Where do you sleep, Jerome?
In this bed.
You have this big bed?
Yes.
What happened? How did you get that hole in that bed there, Jerome?
The rats.
The what?
Rats.
Now, Jerome, you are taking care of Kathy, of Beulah, and Lois.
Yes.
Now, are you going to give them lunch today?
Yes.
What are you going to feed them?
I don't know.
Do you have any food here to give them?
Yes.
I see. What time does your mother come home?
I don't know.
The following day, Aline King, the mother of Jerome, Kathy, Lois, and Beulah, again was picking beans.
Aileen King, I saw your children yesterday at the Okeechobee camp. Why didn't you put them in the nursery?
I don't make enough to pay for it.
How much does it cost to put them in?
85 cents.
85 cents.
That's right.
Aileen, what time did you come out the field this morning?
6 o'clock.
What time will you get home?
About 3:30, 4 o'clock.
6 this morning to 4 o'clock this afternoon.
That's right.
How much did you earn?
$1.
$1?
That's right. $1.
Is that because the beans were of poor quality?
That's right.
Has this happened before?
That's right.
How much will your food cost you today?
About $2.
Aileen, how old are you?
29.
How many children do you have?
14.
How old were you when you first started working in the fields?
8.
You've been working 21 years in the field?
That's right.
Aileen, do you ever think you'll be able to get out of this kind of work?
No, sir.
All the migrants travel
Right,
fourth
Nick.
class. If there is a privileged class, they ride in their own jalopy,
Thank
in
you,
the
Otis.
best Jode family tradition.
Nick, that's it. Sorry, y'all, for the recording. Now I know I have to record upright in order for you to see it. But I just came across that literally today. It's called The Harvest of Shame. It's on YouTube. Maybe we can find a way to share it out if you get an opportunity to watch it. Just 65 years ago, that's how they were comfortable with being able to still put capital into a capitalistic society. That they were building the what you didn't see before, I don't think, is that they listed these labor camps as housing authority spaces, aka ghettos and slums, and they harbored black labor workers to come and plant seeds and harvest food from the farms. Some of this food they weren't even getting themselves. And they literally, that's how they were making money throughout the year, traveling sometimes 10, 20 hours on a packed bus with their children and the little bit of things that they had, and going from these work sites to work sites. Um, Let me see. ADD taking the curve. Mark Hutchison, thank you for joining us. He said, "Y'all hitting on critical race theory now. I hope everyone sees why nobody want to talk about CRT. The ultra rich don't want poor whites to know what the plan really is. Stamp, facts, and double tap." Mark, it is definitely one band, one sound when it comes to what really makes America run. It is built in caste, and I think you might have heard Brother Elliot and me and Anna talk about it. I think Mickey might have spoke on it too. The caste system. If you're not familiar with it, you better get familiar with it because that is what runs the world. No matter if you waving a USA banner or you waving a European banner, caste is at the helm of it. And what that simply means is that the haves want to run the world while the have-nots fuel it, and they'll do it by any means necessary. They don't care about you having no kids. They don't care about you, whether or not you got feelings or emotions or what you think is right or not. If you didn't write the check that's cashing the success of the USA, they're not interested in that. And I would like to bring that back to DC. In my opinion, we already were dealing with that with the policies that were coming out of, just as I'm gonna use the Commanders since Anna started us off there. We have a $1 billion deal that just happened in the District of Columbia that is going to benefit the Commanders owner, the developers that are working on it, the construction workers that's going to get the contract. And they told it to us, they sold it to us that it was going to be an opportunity for us to have more affordable housing. Affordable for who? When the average DC resident, let alone DC native that has gone through the school system, is only able to make up to $46,000 a year, if that, which is not sustainable even for a studio apartment. So you telling me we getting $1,800 options for affordable housing? BS. I call BS. I made a joke about it the other day about at least the millennials might be traumatized because we've gone through a lot of things. But one thing I could say about my millennial experience is that they taught us how to be super snoopers and how to sniff out bullshit. We had stories like we had Carmen Sandiego, we had Ghost Rider, all the things that helped us be able to use context clues. And it's looking quite messy to me. So I'm looking to get the Congress off of our back as an organizer and unite people's thoughts around that, but also holding them black elites, the boule who done put us in this position, accountable for not for like, don't use me now because you need more people on your team, and then turn around and stab me in the back and twist it 20 times over again. I don't know, Andy, what you think?
I don't know, Yogi, because you went through 3 different subjects in 1 second, and I got to catch back up. I'm sorry. Are you talking about the video, or are you talking about Mark Hutchinson comment?
You can start from the video and then just incorporate Mark Hutchinson.
So I'm gonna loop it back to what I was talking about to make it more easier for me because I do got ADHD. Never been diagnosed, but when we jump, that thing sets me back. So if we go back to when Presley was talking about the 14-year-old, and then you go into the video where you're showing the young male, and you're talking about them being in the system, being in the ghetto, in the situation, what ghetto meant, the way we use the word, but what it meant back then. System of housing, how people were poor, and we're still in the same situation. I just feel now what you're seeing is now it's against the law. So we're going into basically what you're saying, what we talked about is the caste. We are starting the caste system, but it's going to be based on race and economics. Not economics, race, based on race, our income. And the reality is, with these new technologies that we're going through, the average income, depending on where you live at, which we talked about it. And then I think you spoke about the commanders. I don't know. I think in about the next 10 years, if you do not have 250,000, which, I don't know if I'll get there. But if I don't, I know that I might be bought out the city and I might have to move. That's the reality. Because I do know you heard I'm in this big, beautiful bill that we might be without housing assistance, supportive housing, shelter for homeless. But even going into when they were attacking the mayor, the huge thing was because of hate towards race, the fight that I would hear all the time in comments and people's conversation and people's chats when I was watching, they gave housing to those immigrants. But let's speak facts. Texas, a red state who had the money, has shipped, well, I don't mean to say ship, but that's how pretty much it is, bust immigrants to DC, Chicago, and New York. And I think for DC, let me get the numbers so I'm not just saying nothing. For DC, 12,500 immigrants came to DC. For New York, 37,000. And for Chicago, 30,000. But the reality is none of those people were housed. But that's the lie they're saying in this video, that these people were housed. Now imagine the people that are here, been here, that are not housed. The reality is the Ukrainians were housed in DC. The Irish, when they came, were housed in DC. The Swedish were housed when they came to DC. But we got this narrative that the immigrants are taking our job. And the last time I checked, if you see SCOTUS, they're looking for people that make no money, and that's where they're looking for them. So if you make no money, and what I mean like no money, you're under $30,000, according to SCOTUS, they can question if you're a U.S. citizen. So make it make sense. I'm sorry. This is crazy. Go ahead, Yogi G.
Nah, I mean, I just think that, like, when you have the example of what their playbook looks like for you live and in color, then I mean, I guess, like, how are we not able to start processing what we're seeing and making it make sense? like you don't have to have no special magnifying glass or marker to show you where we are and where we should be headed, as far as the unification of the country. And I think that, like, if we don't really get ahead of this as independents, forget what label or banner you're flying under, and start giving some consideration to what we want our country to look like, past today into tomorrow, then we just gonna be screwed at the end of it. I don't know, Anna. You look like you looking for
No,
something.
something went down, but it went away. Mark Hutchison had said something earlier, Mickey. I don't know if you could roll it down. He said something about he did not know who CK was. I don't even want to say the guy's name. And you know who CK is. You know when I say CK, you know who I'm talking about.
Oh, the one where he said, speaking of mediocre people.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who never heard of CK before he
I say
got.
CK. I don't like saying the guy's name. So they were doing a study on and I don't know, Yogi G. Eventually, when I was in class in the same we probably had similar classes. I always say the name wrong, algorithm. Um, they're not the same in each area. So I don't know if like the East Coast does different. But from what I hear, a lot of people did not see the same videos of CK that the same videos that were in the East Coast. So when I say CK, it's because I've known this young boy for a long time, and I call him a boy because his conversation is childish. Nothing he ever spoke about built on anything. People could agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, this was a young boy who was in the community college, and a millionaire got him because he liked to debate. And sometimes when you're young, the best way is to get the youth to change the narrative, because they know these ones that are in their 70s, that little that South is going to rise again. It's still in them. So they're going to try to come back. And so they got this young boy, paid him a lot of money, and had him debating around college campuses. Because what's the best way to get people to vote? You know, if you get them a senior year in high school, or you turn around and go to these colleges. But for all these years, I don't know about when did you know who CK was, but CK been around for a minute. He's not just somebody who just came on the scene. If you know Candace Owens, you would have seen CK, and then I forgot the other, Ben Shapiro is the other one. The three of them were at the same time, always debating on campuses. And CK whole thing was exactly what Yogi G was talking about earlier. When that congressman said, what are you doing about having fathers back in the house? CK, that's all he talked about was that agenda. So when that congressman said that to Mayor Bowser, it was just bringing up his rhetoric, saying that that's what's wrong with the Black community. The fathers are not in the house. But as y'all know, back in the 60s and the 70s, what did they do with housing? When you see that young lady, working on the field, trying to take care of her kid, and she got her young boy helping, what do you think the father was? Do you think they housed him? No. They probably told him he couldn't stay there. Because if you look, eventually we could talk about Berry Farms and all the projects that we had here. They were originally in the household. And then they came up with this thing like, let's separate them, because we know that if you break the family, you can pretty much take over. And so this ideology with CK was the reason why Black America's not doing good is because Black men are not in the households. And if that ain't racist, I don't know, because there's a lot of white families that don't have men in the household. And there's a lot of brown families that don't have men in the household. That does not mean that they are a respected family and they're not doing what they need to do. Go ahead, Yogi G.
I was listening to what you was putting down. I had went into the chat for a second. Omar says some sad thing is people back in the day. Wait, let me start over. Sad thing is people back in the day. People used to move from the south to the north or the west to escape racism, and better opportunities seem now for better opportunities, and it seems now there's nowhere to go. Man, listen, that's why I said on our last show that I've been kind of looking into the different spaces. Like, if you can't find peace in your own city or state or country, then what's the person to do? And that's why I had mentioned about what was happening internationally, because sometimes we get hyper focused on what's happening in just with our local, or we get hyper focused on what's just happening in America. And I think that these times are worth showing us that it's worth starting to tap in to what's happening internationally, just in case you have to answer that question for real. And I did catch a little flack. One of our close friends was like, well, why are you talking about telling people about Europe? And like, we want to go to Europe. And that was the only example that I had to show how CK's unaliving is now starting to change the rhetoric internationally to where you have people in Japan, people in Australia, people in France. Well, maybe not France. France got a whole new bag. But you got people that internationally that are now sitting here talking about I am CK. And so if we can't come together in our own country to fight for democracy and justice of like us being treated as humans and not capital, then where are we supposed to go? And I would argue that even if we are trying to return to the motherland, I don't even know where I would go in the motherland because I don't have that much knowledge about where my ancestors are from specifically. That there are things that are happening there, like what's happening in the Congos that people are not talking about, where you literally have small children as young as age 6 to 9 who are mining for iPhone parts. And we're still, we still have yet to hear more about that. But we got trouble wherever we go. So if you're not going to find a place to take a stand for and unite with community, then I'm on the side of what Omar was saying. Like, where is a person to go? And if anybody got that answer to that question, then please let a girl know, because I got some people that I care about that I would love to have in the safety and the arms of a great community and sustainable community. And even to the point where we talk about now how we create community for ourselves and not dependency in the government, what we know to be true about America and how they feel about when you go rogue and go independent is they hated it. And when they don't like it and it's not making them no money and they don't have access, they burn it down and they kill and destroy. So I don't mean to be morbid, and I don't mean to be the person. Like, I'm looking to find answers, and I'm actively working to be a part of the solution and not of the problem. But in this good day of September 21st at 6:01 p.m., I ain't got the answers, Sway. I ain't got the answers. What's up? I ain't going. Thank you for joining us. You're not late, and we appreciate you being a part of the replay gang. But Anna, I know that Mickey got to make a transition soon.
I'm just going to give my little closing, and then you can close us out. And so I just want to leave you with this thought this week. A lot of times we focus so much on what's around us that our conversation is just where we live. And I want to challenge you this week to stop thinking that what you're going through in your community isn't the only place that's going through. And so what I'm challenging, because a lot of people don't even know what's going on, start talking to people that are not open to learning outside of their area. A lot of us, especially people like us of color, we focus on where we live. We live in the same area. We don't move. I don't go to that side of town. We don't go to this side of town. And it's time to have that conversation with people. I challenge you this week, and these are just my thoughts. Start looking up other cities, what's going on. Because the way they got this going, we're about to be stripped from freedom of speech. So when you get stripped of freedom of speech, I don't know, the next time we get on YouTube, as soon as that's why I'm saying CK. So I'm challenging you this week, start talking to each other. Not just about what's locally going on. Start tying it with other cities. Because people, even till today, and I don't know about you, Yogi G, when you say what's going on in DC, they don't believe half of it because their algorithm is different. And so I'm challenging you that when you listen to anything that's going on in DC or whatever, or when you listen to us, or if you listen to any podcast, just share, but share the facts. That's all I have to say.
I'm going to double tap on that and give it a deuce.